An Israeli airstrike in Khan Yunis is said to have hit a residential block with dozens of people believed to be trapped underneath the rubble. Palestinians held a funeral at Al-Aqsa Hospital in the central city of Deir al-Balah after Israeli airstrikes leveled crowded homes in the Nuseirat and Bureij refugee camps. Injured Palestinians, including children, were rushed to a hospital in the southern city of Rafah as Israel continued to target locations it says are used by terrorists. Residents cleared rubble in the southern Gaza town of Rafah after Israeli forces struck the area twice overnight. An explosion in the Gaza Strip sent a large plume of smoke drifting into the air as Israel continued its bombardment of the enclave. The Israeli military released footage of what it says are troops operating in the Gaza Strip. Flares and fires were seen lighting up the Gaza skyline as Israeli forces continued to pound the besieged territory. Scores of people gathered at a candlelight vigil in Lisbon to express their solidarity with the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. House Speaker Mike Johnson met with UK's top diplomat David Cameron at the Capitol. UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron called for pauses in the fighting between Hamas and Israel to ensure the delivery of aid and the release of hostages. Israeli government spokesperson Elon Levy said that troops are battling Hamas terrorists in the Gaza Strip, second largest city. The military body in charge of civilian affairs in the Palestinian territories known as Khogat says its plans to open the Kerem Shalom crossing between Israel and Gaza for inspections in the coming days. Israeli jets targeted Gaza Strip's southern city of Khan Yunis as the country's army says it is battling Palestinian militants. Residents of a neighborhood in the southern Gaza Strip city of Khan Yunis were searching through rubble for survivors after Israeli strikes hit the area. A spokesperson for the Israeli military said that Israeli forces have broken through defensive lines in Jabalia, Shejaiya and Khan Yunis and were engaging militants in face-to-face combat. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres invoked the use of Article 99 of the Charter of the UN over the war in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Israeli military is encircling the house of top Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Andy Hoang eagerly began her first nursing job this year in New Hampshire with a desire to specialize in cardiac care. U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said that Congress cutting off funding to Ukraine would give Putin exactly what he wants. U.S. President Joe Biden sent an urgent warning to Congress saying funding for Ukraine cannot wait. The leaders of China and the European Union were holding wide-range talks in Beijing that included their disputes over trade and a deep divide on the war in Ukraine. Chinese President Xi Jinping emphasized the importance of his country's relations with the European Union during a meeting with the bloc's officials in Beijing. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman said that President Xi Jinping's upcoming state visit to Vietnam is expected to promote more in-depth and more substantive development for the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership between China and Vietnam. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni stressed that the country's withdrawal from China's Belt and Road Initiative is due to the fact that the agreement did not yield the results that were expected. China hopes that countries at the 28th session of the Conference of the Parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change can work together to solve challenges and bottlenecks facing the renewable energy development. China's Ministry of Commerce said that the US Biden administration's new rules governing how electric vehicles can qualify for tax credits are non-market oriented and discriminatory. Global gold markets saw unprecedented market highs in recent days, with London spot gold peaked at $2,144 per ounce during the Asian session, while the New York gold futures also hitting a record high. The co-chair of the Senate Ukraine caucus met with Ukraine's ambassador to the US as Congress remains stalled on legislation to provide new security assistance for Ukraine. US State Department officials say the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese Armed Forces are responsible for their either war crimes or crimes against humanity, or both in Darfur, where fighting that began in the capital earlier this year has descended into ethnic violence in recent weeks. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin welcomed his Ukraine's counterpart, Defense Minister Rustem Umerov, to the Pentagon for bilateral talks.